Welcome to the Family First Retirement Podcast with George Politaris. For more information, visit betrayawealth.com. Now, let's get to the show.
We got a call. One of our radio listeners gave us a call. She was great. She said, listen, I've been listening, but I just got a question for you. What is your focus? What is it that you can do for me? So, George, let's start there. Let's answer her question. George, what is your focus and what can you do for pre-retirees?
Well, when I say our focus, obviously my focus is to make sure that you, your family, your spouse have the best tomorrow possible. But that's different for everybody, Mark. I can't tell you that it's only this avenue because we're not the same. We're unique. And that's what makes myself and my team here at Betraya Wealth, I think, so special. So many places you go into and they have an agenda. They're going to tell you what your priorities are. It's just not the way it is. Because what you find to be important or what a priority to you is not necessarily the same priority that I have or the person coming in after you has. So we're sitting here working, making that work for you and make sure we see what your dreams, your wants are. Because when we have our first meeting, that first meeting is nothing more than gathering data, Mark. We're finding out what your dreams and wants are, what your plans for the future are, how it's going to work for you. What do you want to do with your hard-earned money? Folks, if you've saved and stashed away like a squirrel almost, $200,000 plus for retirement, whether it's a 401k, a 403b, a thrift savings plan, IRA, CDs, savings, whatever it is, you're really the sweet spot for us to be able to start helping. Mm-hmm. And when we bring that in, you may have an agenda that with my last breath, I'm going to spend my last nickel and I want to stop working tomorrow. And that's great. Or maybe you say, I don't want to do anything in retirement. I'm going to work till I'm 90 so I can leave a big nest egg for my kids. And that could be great. Or you're in between like Leslie and I, where we're going to do everything we've always wanted to. Work so darn hard to accomplish and have memories with our boys. And if there's some money left after we take our last breath, great. If there's not, but that's okay because we gave them other things and we lived our lives that we worked so hard for. Whatever your plan is, whatever your agenda is, and we'll make our plan fit into your needs because you're the person, not me, not my company, not what I think. It's what you think, what you want, and what you've worked so hard for. So when you give us a call, 302-330-2166, we're going to ask those questions when we sit down with you. We're going to go over those. We're going to see what your expenses are, what expenses are going to go away, and probably what expenses are we going to add to you in retirement. A lot of times it's that taking those vacations that you never had a chance to, or spoiling your grandchildren, or maybe just gardening in the backyard. We're going to go over taxes with you. I say it every week. If your financial advisor is not addressing the tax issue, they are doing you a misjustice. We're in tax season right now. We have a few days left. I know all accountants and CPAs have their nose to the grindstone.
Give them a hug if you see them.
Give them a cookie and tell them everything's okay. But we have to address that with you. We have to plan. And we're going to be proactive in that regards with you, showing you opportunities for tomorrow, not just trying to correct what you did last year. But that's about building a plan that fits your family, your needs, and your wants.
302-330-2166. You know, talk about the focus. I think, George, the focus is almost your mission statement to take the gray out of your retirement and make it black and white. And it all begins with that phone call.
Absolutely.
And you talked about, you know, if you've saved that $200,000 for your retirement, spread across a 401k, a savings, a pension, an IRA, pension. There's a key word right there, a pension, because a lot of Americans miss those pensions and the guaranteed income it can provide. Only 13 million adults right now have a pension. And there was a retirement security survey found that 75% agree that the disappearance of traditional pensions make it harder to achieve the American dream. So, George, you've kind of seen pensions slowly dissolve over the years. Is there a way to find that income in retirement now that pensions aren't an option?
You know, Mark, I always think when you play a game, whether it's playing football, playing hockey, a card game, or playing for retirement, you have to know the rules of the game to play it by the rules and succeed. And so many people had the rules changed mid-career when it came to pensions. Our parents, as a rule, worked at the same company for 30, 40 years. And we always talk about working 90,000 hours to accumulate wealth. And they had worked for Westinghouse. They worked for Boeing, and they got that pension. So let somebody else take care of them. Let somebody else plan for them. and didn't really know what they were doing, but they had a great retirement. Now that people don't have a pension per se, I think you just said 13 million folks have pensions. We work with the people that have a pension, i.e., if you're a federal employee, you're a unique animal, you have a pension. If you're a state employee, Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, you have a pension. We're here to help you because we know how those work. But we're also here to show you how you're going to maximize your 401k, your thrift savings plan for our federal fans out there, a 403b, a 457, and to give you those 3, 4, even 5 reliable, dependable, and sustainable avenues of income in retirement. And that's really what it's about. We lost this one leg per se of a pension, or and it's gone. How are we going to replace that income? We'd start planning earlier. We say our ideal customer, Mark, is those people 55 plus that are getting ready to retire in the next 5, 10, 15 years so we can get in the right place. But how about our children? Mom and dad, you're out there driving today and you have your son or daughter with you, or you think about your son and daughter. They need to call us too, Mark, because for pretty much most of them aren't going to have a pension at all. Maybe they have no matching funds for their retirement. We can help you start your self-funded pension. When you work with myself, we work with our business partner, our strategic business partner, Ernie Calais, who's from Freedom Financial. He's the CPA in the office. When you work with Angie, or you work with Achilles or Jared, our goal is to build that retirement plan for you with the tools that we have available. If you have a pension, great. That's one of the tools. You have a 401k, a thrift savings to build those avenues, to build those streams of income. So when the time comes for you to retire, you get to do everything you want to. And some of that's having some safe money. I'll be honest with you, folks. We have Social Security, and that's a whole nother topic that we have to look at. But some of it's going to be that. Some of it's going to be a pension if you have it. Fixed index annuities play a big part in some of our monies. I need that safety net. Other money is going to be managed funds. We need to get bigger, stronger, kind of like the Hulk when he's mad. Yeah. You don't want me to get mad. Well, you want that retirement money to get big and mad, but have the safety. And it's about having the correct blend of retirement instruments, how it's going to fund your retirement, how it's going to give you what you want, because you are the person we're here to assist. You're the person I'm here to help guide, because you've done a great job with these 401ks and TSPs, Mark, over the last 90,000 hours working. You've accumulated wealth. You now need the help to wealth manage, to keep that wealth, to have it grow further, to last longer, and really start doing what you want. When you go to Patria, Patria wealth.com, or call us at 302-330-2166, let's schedule that no-cost, no-obligation meeting. Come in the office here in Wilmington. Let's have a good cup of coffee, as my mother would say. Sit down and start the process. It is a process, and we make it build around you to give you what you want.
I like how you said that, a good cup of coffee. Listen, we're not buying the cheap stuff around here. We take our coffee.
No.
We need that energy to get going.
No.
302-330-2166, PatriaWealth.com. You want to have conversations about building that income in retirement. Maybe you don't have the pension. Maybe you don't have the opportunity for that. There are other opportunities for retirement income, but it all begins with the conversation. And you mentioned, we look to serve adults. We look to serve the 50, 55, 60-year-olds. But let me ask you that, George. For someone listening this weekend, I'm about 50. I'm starting to get really serious about my retirement plan. Who are you talking to specifically? Is it me? Is it the 60-year-old? Is it the 65-year-old? Who are you talking to, George?
We're talking to all of them right now, Mark, obviously. And they're each at different stages. Okay, let's think about that. So I hear people saying that more and more people are working later in life because of the concerns they have with maybe Social Security is not going to be corrected. Maybe they're not going to fix it. We have a problem in 2033. So when we get to those 60 and 65-year-olds, you're really close to the end of the race of working per se. And a lot of times you're already into a certain groove as to where our retirement is going to look like. But those 50-year-olds, you have the luxury of time. And 10 years, I know my mother used to say, I used to say, I can't wait for this to come, Mom. I can't wait for this day to come. And she'd tell me, you're wishing your life away, son. And time goes really fast the older you get. Mark, if you're 50 years old, blink your eye twice and you're going to be 55, almost 60. In that quick of a sight. So when you come in, we're going to see where we're at. And you have the luxury that if we're not lined up correctly, if we have some issues, we have time to fix them, reallocate, place them in a better place for you, and really get you to go where you want to go in the right direction. So those 50-year-olds, we love them. You need our help because this is not a DIY. Yeah. This is not sit there and type in how to plan for retirement and get that. It's not the way it works. You're going to have a plan built to your needs and wants. Whether you're 50, 60, 65, 70, we need to help you keep your wealth. When's your RMDs going to start coming out? How are we going to plan for that? And really, and we'll talk about this probably later, about the preparation of being proactive with taxes. How we're going to maximize it. We have an opportunity in the next couple of years to still plan really strongly for the next 10 years. Because I love my country, Mark. You know that. I can't say enough about it. I hate the way they spend my money. And this is the time when we can plan how to keep our money in our pocket longer, tax deferred or tax free, and how we're going to be lined up properly for those golden years that the money's mine and not the government's. So call me at 302-330-2166 and let's schedule that appointment to come into the office. Let's sit down and let's start that process, see how we can assist you be in the best place possible.
You know, you're talking about that 50, 55, 60 years old. Did you see that report that said if adults, all adults in America over the age of 50 were living together in one country, it would be the third largest economy in the world. That's just American adults over the age of 50. Their economic contributions over $8.3 trillion. But as we're talking about age, and you've seen it, I've seen it, you watch advertising, you see the images online, half of them are correctly depicting a 50-plus crowd. They don't want to use a picture of adults. So they're missing something. Look, I'm putting that on them because there is a group of people out there, the 50-plus crowd, the people getting ready for retirement, they have the money. And they have the income, and they're building the plans, but for some reason, they feel like they get neglected in the advertising community. So, George, when you speak to people, when you start building plans, what do you feel like is neglected the most in a retirement plan?
I think the biggest, if I had to give three concerns about the biggest concerns that 50-plus-year-old are being ignored about, I think the good news and bad news scenario, obviously, is good news is you're living longer. The bad news is you're living longer. We're not planning to be alive for 40 more years. Right? We're going to be an average 85 to 90 years old, which is a good problem. And it's a first world problem, but we have to plan for it.
So like a long-term care and health care?
Absolutely. You got to look at long-term care. And gentlemen, this is not prejudice. It's just my personal opinion that if you're married and you're the same age as your wife and you're male, female, the female will outlive the male by 6 to 8 years. And as a rule, gentlemen, let's be realistic, Mark. I know your scenario. My wife is the caregiver. Leslie has always been the caregiver. I stub my toe and I can't move for a week.
You're going to tell me wummy ache and I'm down for at least a week.
And the women are the beasts. They just plug through and she's just great. So I know if I get sick, I have Leslie take care of me. But who's there to take care of them after the gentleman, the male counterpart, whatever the term you want to use, passes away? They're by themselves. So we need really to plan for our wives as a rule being left behind. And long-term care comes to play there. She's taking care of you. When you die, who's left to take care of her? We need that protection in place. How about estate planning, proper estate planning? This is the time frame. You want to start planning for that. We're going to help you do that. How to prepare so all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. Because we never think, I'm living to be 100, right? It's never going to happen to me until it happens to you. So the estate planning has to start coming into play here, getting things lined up. And we have to address how high our medical costs will be in retirement. I think I read an article the other day, Mark, where they said they figured the average medical cost for a retiree was $43,000 when the number's closer to $230,000 for medical costs.
So the average adult thinks they're going to be spending about $41,000 in medical care.
Okay.
The actual cost is closer to about $315,000 over the course of a retirement.
That's a big adjustment if you're not planning for that, don't you think? I think it is. And we have to, those issues have to be addressed, such as another one that we have to talk about is, when do I take Social Security? That's a huge question. There's over 500 different ways to take Social Security.
Say that again.
500.
Jeez.
It's amazing to me. because everyone thinks there's only three. Either I take it early, 62, I take it at my full retirement age, or I take it later. There's a whole mix to go within there and a whole philosophy. And that plan's changed for a lot of people due to the government's issues with funding for Social Security. But these are things you have to address now. How are we going to plan for this? And Mark, you know this. When you work with me, folks, there's no gray after you leave, no confusion when you leave my office after our second meeting. Good, bad, or indifferent, I'm going to lay it out truthfully to you. Mm-hmm. And whether you take my recommendations or you don't, at least you can never leave and say, why didn't George tell me this? I'm blunt, I'm upfront because we're all adults and we need to know what's going on. And we're going to show you why I chose to look at this. I'm going to give you reasons why, give you documentation to back up our reasoning and to give you the peace of mind to sleep at night. Because I always tell people, my biggest problem is when I'm worried about something, I go to bed, less than I in bed, and I don't sleep. I get up and I wander the house and the dogs and I are eating snacks because I'm so worried about X. I don't want that for you. When you go to bed, you should be able to do whatever you want to in bed and be comfortable. And my job is to help you be comfortable so you can sleep. But it's your job to pick up the phone and call 302-330-2166 or go to Patria, Patria, wealth.com and schedule that appointment. The worst thing that happens, Mark, is you spend an hour with the first meeting, an hour and a half maybe with the second meeting, and you get the information, the knowledge, and the education about where you are, what your retirement money is doing for you, and some ideas about being in a better place for tomorrow.
That's the worst thing that happens. I can't imagine how good the good's going to be.
Exactly right, brother. And that's what it's about. I want you to be at ease.
Investment advisory services are offered only through properly registered representatives of Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, which is not affiliated with Betrayal Wealth Group. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if George Politaris is licensed in your state, please contact his office. George A. Politaris is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstances. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities, offered through George A. Politaris, NPN number 175000473.